Hello and welcome back, lore collectors. This video will be talking about the first year on Enoch in our Outriders series and the Endless War, as it is called. In the first year on Enoch, there was many different things happening. First, base camp had to be set up. Then exploration had to be undertaken. Then the black fungus was discovered. Now, the black fungus is a fungus that destroys and kills all that it touches. The black fungus killed many. Skarstead, as his last name is, was the first. He was researched and put into cryo, but he could not be saved and he died. Skarstead was the first of many, including a nurse, to die from the black fungus. But that is enough about that. Now we go to the first city. The first city was built on Enoch through the use of 3D printers. 3D printers were set up and were manufacturing homes out of concrete and other industrial raw materials. And the power source for the entire city was the SM Flores' engine, a 80-year-old nuclear power engine. Not the best idea to rely on an 80-year-old engine for power, but that's what they did. Electronics did everything. Everything. And when the anomaly came and the storms wiped out everything, then all the electronics failed. Simple electronics, such as maybe engines or electrical lights, were able to continue functioning, but anything advanced was wiped out. And the anomaly damaged the SM Flores' engine, the nuclear power engine. Because of this, the sleepers in the cryopods had to be awoken, 400,000 of them, and all 400,000 had to be brought to the surface. They were put in makeshift, poor quality homes, more like huts, and were left to die outside the walls of the city, not given any food or water. Nothing. Obviously, they did not take kindly to this. And what they did in reaction to this cruelty was they called themselves the Exiles and attempted to raise and destroy the city of the first city. So that is what they tried to do. After months and months of skirmishes, on and off riots, rebellions, the Endless War began, where the ECA pooled all their resources and their superior weapons and technology and better disciplined and trained troops into trying to annihilate all of the exiles, as these people who were left to die now call themselves. But, as you can imagine, If it is called the Endless War, it did not work. There were so many of them, and so few of the ones in the first city, that even though they had vastly superior tactics, training, and weaponry, it wasn't really working out. Well, the problem was made even worse when the Altered came on the scene. Not everybody who was caught in the storms died. Some people were altered, as they are now called, and transformed into godlike beings with the power of Thor or Zeus or any other such mythological god. They could heal mortal wounds. They could heal from mortal wounds. They could use all kinds of powers such as fire and lightning. And they could also use regular weapons too. These people, men and women, mostly chose to fight on the side of the insurgents. But there is one called Seth who chose to fight on the side of the ECA, the Earth Colonization Authority that set up the first city. He was not entirely sane, but he had some goodness in him. Now, it is up to you to decide whether the ECA or the insurgents are the real villains of this story. I will leave you to decide that. But Seth chose to fight for the ECA. And he saved you, the player character, from death because he noticed you were an Outrider. And he really respected the Outriders even after 30 years of endless war. Now, how were these wars fought? These wars were fought using a bunch of World War I style tactics. There were trenches, there were bunkers, there was artillery, and the only things that were different was now you had superhumans and full auto weapons. But it was a war of attrition, meaning that one side just simply tried to wear the other's resources out, whether that be soldiers or supplies or food or whatever. And so it resembled, and does resemble, World War I quite highly. There's even an entire town made out of trenches. Now, this war has been going on and on, like I said, for 30 years, endlessly. Many atrocities have been committed. People were dismembered. People are blown up frequently. People are ripped apart. So it is a brutal, gruesome, endless war. Now, in this fighting, a lot of people have forgotten humanity and kindness. But there are a few who still try to hold things together. Shira Gootman is one of those, the Grand Marshal of Rift Town, who fights for the ECA, maintains a little makeshift colony in between the crags of the Rocks of Enoch. And she presides over that town and provides what little order and food and shelter and water that she can. But she has a problem. The Hounds. The Hounds are a group of cruel and savage, gangsters who live in the bowels of the bunkers of this town. But if you so choose, you can take up the cause of Mr. Chang, who was murdered by the hounds. And you can wipe them all out and take out the gang leader. And then Rifttown will be free of their problem. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching. And I will upload soon.